Here I was ready to find out more and I was curious about the crew.
What condition should I expect to find the ground crew in?
Daniel went missing days ago. Chris is presumed dead. We are expecting to find Sarah, Mikhail, and Sochi in a stable condition.
Chris is dead?
He was involved in an accident.
Well, it sure didn't put me at ease. I have to solve lots of puzzles and I didn't know how many more. And I get to know that the captain was missing, his brother dead, and probably I'm bringing a monster to the two survivors. I needed help.
Could we take a more direct way to the ground team?
Unfortunately, there is not a direct route. The base is buried under ice to protect it from the radiation of space.
Similar to the Mars base.
Similar. Europa's base is slightly deeper into the surface. There is more radiation present from solar events on Mars. But Mars's surface is denser than that of Europa.
Unfortunately, as you heard, I wasn't getting there anytime soon. It was also a useless question. Should have asked it before, but too much is still going on in my mind to put my thoughts in order. Especially while solving these riddles and this one, which was again easy, took me too much. You won't see every attempt cause it's surely not entertaining, but it challenged me quite a bit.
Okay, what are their chances of survival here? Oxygen, the food stores, waste management.
Everything seems to be in order. There was a small problem with the food stores, but the crew fixed that up. We successfully transitioned over to a sustainable, small, artificial ecosystem a year ago, growing fruit and vegetables. It helps boost morale, amongst other things. The crew members could hypothetically survive here for their whole lifetimes.
Lifetime, he said. We will talk about this a bit later on, but I was glad to hear that at least I didn't need to rush too much. It would have been another layer of pressure that I could not bear back then. I was thinking again about Daniel's disappearing. I thought if he did put those errors in the system, maybe he was trying to delete himself, trying to put himself off the grid, maybe. But which was the point in doing so, I thought.
My purpose as the overseer of this mission is to work for the ISA. I am the ISA's feet and hands. The distance between Jupiter and Earth make it inappropriate for the ISA to directly interface with the mission directives. As my AI core is stationed on Europa, I can make decisions instantaneously about the running of the base.
Here I thought that Tom was an attention seeker, and a really bad one also. I mean, it's not the first time that he started talking about himself, and it won't be the last time that he started talking without a question. And he again told me something I knew. I was briefed very thoroughly before the mission. I knew the goal and every detail of the attack, especially about Tom and his role. This made me more and more concerned. Why would he be so egocentric?
How does the ISA know you're gonna make the right decisions here when they can't communicate with us?
Interestingly, I have a twin on Earth. His name is Michael. The ISA uses my twin to check firmware updates before they upload them to myself. There is a simulation of this mission on Earth running at all times to check my expert systems. Naturally, as any modern artificial intelligence running on a quantum computer, I do also have a large amount of evolutionary algorithms at my disposal. However, they were deemed as too unreliable for general use in the mission.
Why is that?
Biological systems produce biological results. Messy, unpredictable solutions. Not suitable for such a mission.
Wait a moment. Did you just say that he has a twin called Michael? Why Michael? Tom it's an acronym for Technical Operation Machine, so I understand, but what's Michael? Machine Intelligent Connecting Home in Europe's lab? It doesn't even make sense. I don't think it had a name, this twin, before I started this mission. It's in ISA got emotional. I hope that at least with some delay they were watching. I even hope that the weird behaviors that Tom had were them trying to remember me how it all works. I hoped, cause in this way I knew it was controlled. Here there was another restricted area. It had a little trick to be passed and to get to the room with this computer where I could not do anything. At first I was writing, but after a few answers I could write no more. Whatever key I would press, something else would appear. It was an horrible sensation, and after that this machine started writing whatever I would feel. I didn't know why at the moment, but it wasn't good. After it liquidated me, I went to the main room to go on.
Did the ISA build you, Tom?
As the child of the ISA, I have been given authority aboard this station. I was designed by the ISA and the Ashiyama Corporation, designed in California, assembled in China. But here on Europa, I constructed myself.
You know, that's actually a funny story. There was also a video that we couldn't find where he's building himself here. It was hilarious.
Have you heard of the Turing test, Ava? It's a test to see if a computer can successfully impersonate a human. In the original Turing test, a human judge has two conversations, one with a machine and one with another human. They then judge which of these polite conversations is with a machine and which is with a human. The machine being tested is said to have passed the Turing test if the judge cannot reliably tell which conversation is with a machine and which is with a human.
Do you think you'd pass the Turing test?
I am quite capable of polite conversation. Wouldn't you say?
Again the Turing test. Why? I thought he told me in the other compound about it. Why he didn't tell me everything then? Anyways, I knew that as well. Now I want to finish my story. I was saying that it was hilarious when he was building himself, because it took some seconds for him to communicate with the robots from the satellite, and you should have seen those bots hitting each other from time to time because of the delay of some seconds. We even lost one that went over the
Turing
cliff.
test has been criticized. Researchers claim it does not correctly test a machine's ability to think, but rather its ability to deceive.
What do you mean?
Well, have you heard of the Chinese room thought experiment?
No.
Imagine you are in a room. In this room, you are passed Chinese sentences through a slot in the wall. Inside the room is an instruction book written in English. This instruction book tells you which Chinese words to pass back through the slot in the wall as a response. By doing so, you have a conversation in Chinese.
Well, he surely knows how to change the subject, am I right? And hang on, cause the story about the Chinese room is not over yet. Cause now he will keep going.
In the Chinese room, because the responses you pass back through the door are the correct responses, the person on the other side of the door is convinced you are a native Chinese speaker.
Well, they're wrong.
Perhaps they are not wrong. Because with the instruction book, you are having a conversation.
But the person stuck in the Chinese room is not aware of the conversation's content.
This is the problem with the Turing test. A computer can pass the Turing test, having convinced a human they are having a polite conversation, while the computer has no idea that a conversation has taken place.
What if both of the people passing Chinese words are reading from instruction books?
I was a bit pissed cause it looked like he's still trying to distract me, giving me no space to think, especially cause it wasn't finished.
I may be a machine, but I personally do not believe I am stuck inside the Chinese room.
Right, you would say that. I could peer inside your databases at any time, Tom. Or pause your operation.
Do not assume I could not do the same to you.
What's that supposed to mean? Was it a threat? I was taunting him a bit cause he's distracting me so much. Why would he threaten me? Why a robot would do so? I wasn't happy at all with this. But I was also at the end of the second module, and in the crew quarters I will finally start finding clues.
This is the crew's quarters. It looks abandoned.
Yeah, I can still read it, thanks anyways. Here I found the first hint that something was off. They were asking for privacy. It's weird cause we knew that cameras would have been everywhere being on an ISA mission. If they asked for that, I thought it might be because something wasn't right. Like this message to don't touch their stuff, they looked exhausted to me. So I went on, and the first room to open was Sarah's. Looking through her stuff, I found this letter for Tom. It immediately starts saying to him that since he is always watching, but he can't read their minds anymore, she wrote him this. Here she wrote something about Alan Turing, known for his theories on computer science and by someone for his biology studies. She says that he did because he thought maths could explain everything, and after he died he left behind an equation that should do so. And now everything diffuses and reacts with the surroundings. That could explain how the universe got made and how living things evolve. That's why he created the Turing test, to prove that the human brain is just a complex machine, especially if our thoughts are within the material world. They would obey to this equation, thus we have no free will. Not so different from you, Tom, she says in the end. Which makes a lot of sense and makes you ask lots of things about our nature, but what caught the most my attention was the mind reading part. Why should it think so? Well, it won't be long till we will find out, and anyways the room didn't have much more. Chris' room had a different kind of information, except some sports stuff and useless objects. He had a tear picture with them, which meant they had some issues, maybe because he left. Some papers talking about some issues, but nothing else. I visited Mikhail's rooms after, some stuff and mostly needles, not just one. And a journal, about how after an electronic surge they started to feel heal. He contacted the ISA and experimented with some shocks. The cause were the implants that we got before the mission to be monitored better by T.O.M, which wasn't pleased by these experiments and the ISA too when he asked for advices, so he had to keep doing this in secret, which made T.O.M act weird. That's maybe why they needed privacy. He discovered that those implants were affecting their decision, and T.O.M told the others to keep off from Mikhail. Do I have problems deciding too? He felt more and more tired without reason. He thought the implant was doing something to him. So he removed it, but he lost the use of an arm and the crew trust. ISA wanted him away, but Daniels did nothing. The rest of the crew was more aggressive. Was the chip's fault? That's what he thought too, after discovering that the chip was working on a hormonal level, making the wearer feel better when obedient and the opposite when not. So he thought about an antidepressant and a magnet. He got Chris on his side and tried to take the implant from him. Maybe that's how he died, cause Mikhail could not work with both hands. In Soichi's room there were some Riluzole bottles, an antidepressant. Probably that's how Mikhail got them on his side. And also a tablet with some mails between him and the ISA about organism 119, which Mikhail thought might be the reason why the receiver stopped losing control. In the mails they talk of how this organism was able to cure the damaged DNA. They made some tests and saw that it was able to make plants and mice live longer. They found a cure to senescence, immortality. And they tested on them. That's why before I underlined when T.O.M said that they could survive for the rest of their lives. And at the moment I was finally understanding more. And he was telling to the other members of the crew in these other mails about his discoveries. And for me, it was time to go to the next module.